Welcome back to another episode of Katawa Shoujo. There we go. So, I hope people will enjoy this. For people who want a bit more action though, this isn't the best thing to watch, so you might want to tune out right now. Anyways, it's already 8:30, but this morning's class has not yet begun. We were supposed to have physics, but the teacher is nowhere to be seen. Had I known this beforehand, I would have slept in too. Suddenly, the classroom door slams open and Mutao grunts his morning greeting to us from the doorway. Good morning, everyone. I swear I change their accents, their way of speaking every time. The stubble, his messier than normal hair and the stained dress shirt create a less than favorable impression. I guess he had fun last night at the festival too. Excuse my being late. I ran into unexpected problems. I'm usually not one for festivals like this, but I hope you all had a good time. After all these sorts of events are important for you all, since they give you a sort of reprieve from schoolwork. The class replies with various degrees of enthusiasm, and Mutao proceeds to take roll and get started. Right then, today's subject is photon particle physics. Before long, I have descended into a comfortable coma-like state along with the rest of the class, letting Mutao's rambling speeches pass through one ear and exit the other without leaving a trace. Now, who could tell us the solution to this problem? He's written a rather easy equation on the blackboard. Desperately, he tries to get the class to participate. Nobody? Come on, guys. Nakai, how about you? Unfairly singled out and cornered, I give him an answer. It causes his shaggy features to twist into a genial smile that would scare little children senseless. Cool. Precisely. Good work, Nakai. I'm both disturbed and honored by the fact that he can remember my name only 1 week after I transferred here. From what I've seen, Mutao has serious trouble remembering the names of anybody else in the class, and most of them have been here since the first year. The room settles into a dreary mood, students and teacher alike trying to get back on track after the festival. I figure last week must have been frantic for everyone. Not a minute too soon, the lunch bell rings. Make way, important business! I turn my head just in time to see other people scatter out of the way as someone charges from the far end of the corridor towards the stairwell. It's too late to realize that I'm standing in the middle of the corridor, directly in the way of the oncoming human projectile. Excuse me. I try to skip back towards the doorway. Unfortunately, the person running towards me dodges in the same direction. In the following fraction of a second, several things come to mind in sequence, yet almost simultaneously. First, I recognize that the girl who is in a collision course with me is Emi. Second, I realize that it feels somehow very natural to be tackled by Emi once again. I could feel almost comfortable for it if not for the reflexive panic and terror. Third, Emi seems to be carrying a foot-tall stack of papers while running in the hallway. She crashes into me, but at least the impact was a grazing one on my arm this time. Owie, why does this always happen to me? Gee, I wonder, could it possibly have anything to do with you running through the corridor like you were on fire? She whimpers regretfully, looking like a hurt puppy. The sight makes me regret my snappish comment the very instant it emerges from my lips. But I was in a hurry. I can tell. Sorry. Don't worry about it. You just broke all my limbs, but I'm fine. What? Emi wails weakly one last time and rubs her forehead as if to expel the ache with her gaze sweeps over the hallway floor. Oh. As she notices her neat stack of paper spread all over the floor in one big mess, she lets out a horrified yelp. Oh no, the printouts! Oh no, what am I gonna do? The teacher will give me hell if they get dirty. They're probably fine. Let's just gather them back up. It won't be a problem. We quickly round up the papers and Amy tries to sort the scattered pile in her hands back into the orderly stack it was. Where are you going? Nowhere in particular, I guess. Didn't want to be left alone with Mutar in the classroom. I think he has a hangover. Have you eaten lunch? Not yet, but I'm not feeling very hungry anyways. She looks at me incredulously as if doubting my sanity for letting such a thing out of my mouth. You should go to the roof. I promised Rin I would eat lunch with her. I bet she'd like company. Uh-oh, my lunches with Rin have been remarkably unsuccessful. I know where this conversation is going and it's hard to not get drawn along, so I have little choice but to play ball. Okay, I'll go pick up some bread or something first. Amy smiles brightly before I say anything further. No, I'll go and deliver these super quick and then go buy lunch for us and Rin too, of course. What kind of bread do you like? It's fine, you really don't need to. Don't worry, it's alright. Consider it an apology. I'll be back before you know it. That's what I'm worried about. Don't get into another accident. Amy starts walking down the hall, but since she's still talking to me, she isn't watching where she's going. I won't. Famous last words. She's already jogging down the stairs as she shouts that not so reassuring promise back to me. Sighing quietly, I start plodding along in her wake, but instead of taking the stairs down, I climb upwards. The stairwell up to the roof is unlit and just as creepy as it was before. The door squeaks weakly in protest as I push it open. Rin is there too, like Amy said, lying on her back at the corner end of the pebble-covered rooftop for some reason. Predicting something unnecessarily strange again, I walk to her as slowly as possible. Hello. She sounds very drowsy as she says that, stretching at the end of the word with a slurred voice. Despite that, her eyes are wide open. I look down at her, my shadow overlapping her face. What are you doing? Rin raises an eyebrow. I thought you had a heart problem, not an eye problem. She answers, challenging the rationale of my perfectly valid question without even tilting her head to look at me. Rin's smart-ass comments are infuriating. The worst thing is that I'm not sure if she's doing it on purpose or not. Alright then, let me rephrase. Why are you lying on your back on the rooftop? There you go, ask the proper questions, communicate clearly. Jeez, she's gonna take you down one way or another. She gives a lazy shrug and sniffs dismissively. I'm trying to experience. People probably don't do this enough. What exactly are I trying to experience here? I can't really tell, but there's probably a reason people don't do whatever. She's playing dodgeball with me again, answering my attempt at small talk with riddles I don't want to puzzle out. But I don't want to ignore her either. Yeah, but the reason is that everyone is too busy with their lives to pay attention to the really important things. Like watching the sky. She tears her gaze away from the sky and finally looks straight at me. The penetrating deepness of her eyes once she focuses them on something is startling. You know, if you were a girl, I could see your panties. If I was a girl, I wouldn't have come this close to anyone who tried to sneak a peek at my panties. I have that much common sense. I wouldn't either, but sometimes it can't be avoided, like now, for example. To tell you the truth, I don't even really want to peek at your panties, though. Underpants are the soul of a girl. You shouldn't peek at someone else's soul, even if you're not a girl. As a guy, I guess I can understand that. To us, they're some sort of half-mythical object that we can't quite comprehend. Yeah, that's exactly how I think about them too. What a coincidence. It really is. So, did you have world history in the morning class? I skipped class. To do this?
Well, I'm not actually doing what it looks like I'm doing, or at least I think that what I'm doing doesn't look like what I look like. But from your perspective, probably. Yeah, I skipped class to do this. I guess whatever your reason is as good as any. Giving in to the tired feeling of my legs, I sit down on the roof next to Rin. The pebbles are not the most comfortable bed in the world, but if she can stand it, then I should be able to as well. What are you waiting for? Try it. I bend my neck backwards to take a look at where she's looking. The silvery blue sky dotted by herds of cloud sheep. Wait, is the picture moving? It's moving! The picture's moving! Cool! Anyways, fills my field of vision entirely. Those are nice little details, having the pictures actually move. Anyways, while it's pretty, the view is nothing special even though the weather is fair. I give a shrug, trying my best to imitate the nonchalant manner which Rin seems to have evolved to perfection, and lie down on my back. The stones poke at my back through my thin shirt whenever I shift my weight even a little, forcing me to keep as still as possible. I try to ignore the discomfort in myself, instead concentrating on the vastness over us. Far above, the summer clouds drift soundlessly across the dome of the sky. Neither of us has anything more to say as silence covers the rooftops. The subdued noises of students on their lunch break, cicadas in the trees, and traffic buzzing past the school are humming pleasantly somewhere in the background. Listen, I had a great time yesterday. Did you? Well, to be honest, no, but it was alright. It was probably the longest time I've ever sat in one place without doing anything, which is kinda impressive. I tried to make it sound as convincing as possible. Gee, dude, I think you really liked what happened last night, yesterday, if it is what I remember it was. With the fireworks, yeah? Is that impressive? I think it is. I'm usually too restless to do anything like that. I think I had a good time too. A cloud passes above us, casting its shadow on the school. A chill surges through me from the sudden change of sunlight to shade. I realize that summer is not in its full bloom quite yet. The only measure of time passing is the slow pace of the clouds moving towards the town. Stray beams of golden sunlight leak through the gaps, blinding me for a moment whenever they hit me directly in the eyes. The blue of the sky looks so unreachable. This reminds me of the time I spent in the hospital where I was bored out of my mind on a daily basis. Somehow it didn't matter after a while. I learned to appreciate other things besides watching TV and gossiping with people I didn't even like. A comprehensive sensation of calmness spreads from my sight to my other senses, finally hitting my brain. An airplane zooms by, leaving two thin contrails in its wake, like a pair of chalk lines drawn from one end of the sky to the other. I wonder where it is heading to. The low din of its engines carries all the way down to my ears, although it's barely audible over the racket from the quad. It's nice. It's nice, but I don't understand why this is more important than go to class. Isn't it good to do something you like? Every once in a while? Of course, but what are you doing? Emmy snuck up on us without either noticing and is only a step away from me, holding several packages wrapped in plastic film in her arms. She leans forwards, whatever, and peeks over me, overshadowing my face almost exactly the same way I overshadowed Rin before. Except her image should be upside down then, right? Oh well, never mind. I wonder how weird this looks, the two of us lying on our backs on the rooftop. That's what I asked too. I would be more concerned about what you are doing. If I were you, I wouldn't come that close to people who could see your panties. Rin!
Emmy's voice is scandalized, but she quickly takes a step backward, pressing her hands against the front of her skirt so abruptly that the parcels of bread she was carrying fall. I quickly avert my eyes and glance angrily at Rin. She pretends not to see me. Hisao isn't like that, right? Right. Emmy scowls at Rin and crouches down to pick up the packages. She wipes the dust off of them and skips liftly around me to Rin's other side where she sets herself down. Anyway, here's your bread. Sorry it took a while. That's alright, thanks for treating me. I pull myself up into a sitting position and gracefully accept the bread Emi is offering. All three of us ravenously dig into the simple meal. The bread is surprisingly decent and readily fuels my stomach. I follow the corner of my eye, the skill with which Rin handles her bread between her feet. I haven't seen you on the track in a few days. Oh right, I figured it was too heavy a routine for me to start with. So you've been doing something else? I've been considering my options. She frowns but doesn't pursue the issue further, for which I'm thankful. Emmy seems pretty headstrong and I wouldn't really want to get pestered by her about this on a daily basis. I have enough burdens to bear with Setsune and Misa already. We barely finish the lunch before the bell rings, calling us back to our classrooms. Shi-chan! Misha waves at me as soon as I enter and starts talking before I even make my way across the classroom. Go away, Misha. How was your festival? Did you have fun? Still somewhat undecided on that. I'd say probably. Why? Just asking. Her eyes glint in a way that tell me she's not just asking. I can't even start to guess her motives, though. As the well-timed entrance of the English teacher prevents us from talking further, Misha falls back to plan B. I was there all day with Shi-chan. We had a lot of fun. Weren't you supposed to be doing work? Don't worry, everything went really well. I don't reply to that, and she leaves me alone after Setsune demands her attention. My own attention, on the other hand, is directed out of the windows. Now that I look at it from here, through the window and the foliage just outside, the sky seems smaller. Well, you don't have the full view anymore of the sky, so it makes kind of sense. I catch only small glimpses of blue. Everything else is a clutter of noise right in the middle of my field of vision. What experience did Rin want out of staring at the sky? Surely she's done it before. Everyone has. It's no use trying to guess her mind, but if I don't do that, then I have no excuse for not concentrating on the teacher's word. I look at the scribbles appearing on the blackboard, trying to figure out their meaning with little success. English really is not my favorite subject. We have strong mutual dislike for each other. Ugh. Thick, hot afternoon light invades the corridor, making the air feel heavy and lazy. My body feels weighed down by it as I drag it to 2 doors down the hallway to the art classroom. Maybe this is a part of the reason why I didn't join any clubs before. Afternoons just aren't suited for activity. I knock on the door of the art room and open it. A girl who was possibly doing something important with the scroll of paper she's carrying turns to reckon me and smiles in a sweet, if a bit confused manner. Hello. This is the art club, right? Yep. You interested in joining? Yeah, in fact I might have already done so, but we'll see. I give her a weak smile and her own widens a notch, making me feel less nervous. Great, have a seat then. We'll start when the teacher gets here. Without even scouting the room for a good spot, I walk quickly to the back of the room and settle myself on a free seat apart from everyone else. A few other members are lounging in their seats waiting for the teacher. Rin sits... Excuse me for all the yawns. Wow. Rin sits alone in the window seat, looking outside. She's the only person here that I know, although a guy I've never really gotten along with from my own class is here too. Nobody else comes to greet me. Maybe introductions are left for later? So I just settle for a silent observation as well. One boy has sunglasses on. An odd sight indoors. We were not at Yamaku. I'll bet he's the blind student Rin was talking about. The wait proves to be extremely short. Nomiya walks over to the stand behind his desk in 3 long strides, then gives a smile and a flamboyant greeting. Good afternoon, everyone. First things first, Hisao there is a new member, so everyone get along with him. He winks at me unsettling. All 8 members of the club, including myself, answer his greeting with considerably less enthusiasm. Still, people finally straighten up in their seats and begin to pay attention. I think some of you still have projects to work on, so please continue with those if you like. As for the rest, I was thinking that today we could do some rough studies. How does that sound? Nobody answers except with some unintelligible murmurs, which Nomiya apparently interprets as an unanimous approval. Alright then. Everyone not working on other projects, choose a partner and draw a sketch of one another. You should be able to complete this today, but if not, we can continue it next time. Or even do it again if you find it interesting. Needed to drink some water. Remember to pay attention to lighting and shadow. Give it your best. Pairing up? I feel pretty awkward about it. Hardly knowing anyone here. I wish someone would ask me to be their partner. People stand up and move their chairs closer together, but no one comes to me. Pretty soon, everyone else is paired off. Friends team up with each other, but I'm left alone. Well, there is Rin. She's sitting in the furthest corner of the classroom, still staring out of the window and seemingly uninterested in taking part in the exercise. Since she's the only other one without a partner, I walk to her seat. I can't see her face because her hair is covering most of it and she's looking away from me. Rin? I call out to her. No response. Hey, wanna partner up? You're the only one I know here. She seems to finally acknowledge my presence, head turning like a robot as she looks to see who is addressing her. Rin doesn't answer. And I don't want to repeat the question either. I'm sure she heard it the first time. Why doesn't she say anything? It can't be such an awful fate to be paired up with me, can it? She doesn't look at my face and instead stares directly at my chest and stomach. Okay, why not? Okay, good, great, I'll get the stuff for us. Looking at the equipment Nomiya has prepared for today's meeting confuses me. Instead of graphite or pencils, we are apparently supposed to do ink sketches. I've never done anything like that before. The teacher, however, seems confident in my abilities to adapt to this medium. Simple! First you do the outlines in ink, you let them dry, and then you shade with diluted ink. This is called India ink. It works like watercolors. Yeah, don't get that on your clothes, by the way. If you're uncomfortable with it, use a pen instead of a brush for the outlines. How about you sketch first with pencil, and then you do everything with the ink. That way, you're sure not to fuck up. I mean, beep. Got it. I pick up paper, water cups, 1 pen for me, 1 brush for Rin, and ink for both of us. Then return to Rin. Yes. Grabbing a vacated empty chair from nearby, I seat myself directly opposite of her. Do you want me to do it with my foot or my mouth? What did you say? She tilts her head, her brows forming questioning arches, as if she doesn't understand that I didn't understand the question. Look, dude, she means probably painting with the brush in her mouth or painting with the brush in her feet, you know. I don't mind drawing either way. You'll look better if I do it with my foot, though. With your foot then, if it's all the same to you. Nodding in answer, Rin gets up from her seat and kicks off her sandals. In 2 fluid motions, she picks up the paper sheets and drops it on the floor. Then snatches the brush between her toes before sitting on the floor in a weird half-crossed leg position. Although I've seen her do everything with her feet already, from eating to painting, this display of dexterity is so prodigious that I just stare at her, stunned. Rin contemplates her blank paper intently. The sharp tip of her brush hovers over the paper in anticipation. When she raises her head to see if I'm ready, I quickly turn my face away. I'll go first. Make a pose. What kind of pose? Doesn't matter. That's the point. You have to make the sketch of the impression you get, not decide beforehand. I end up sitting in my chair, my hands hanging limply between my knees. I look at her and she looks at me for a moment before beginning. Rin stares, piercing but impassive, as if she were trying to absorb a part of me into her own self. I feel like I'm physically shrinking under the pressure of her gaze. I get the feeling that for the first time since we met, Rin is actually looking at me instead of in my general direction. She sketches with confident, bold sweeps of the delicate brush, not caring about the potentially destructive consequences of an accidentally misplaced stroke. After she's happy with the outlines, she stands up to pose for me, stretching her back and legs. This time she doesn't look at me. Instead, Rin lets her gaze wander around the room. I'm relieved. It's easier to stare at someone when they aren't staring back at you. Even so, I find it hard to get the sketch going. I'm not especially artistically talented, so I'm scared my portrait will turn into something disfigured, especially when compared to my partner's skill. I don't want to embarrass myself too badly on the first try. Rin is not helping the process either. She doesn't stand still for even 10 seconds, tilting her head from side to side to judge her drawing, biting at her lower lip, looking unsatisfied and constantly shuffling around like she was on hot coals. Then tell her to stay still. I finally managed to make some headway on my sketch, and with my outlines done, we both start inking in the shadow and light. Nomiya passes by and remarks on the beginnings of our sketches. Very good. Standing figures, easier for a beginner to get a grasp of. Really? I'm not sure about that. But I didn't choose the pose. I look at him and then at Rin in confusion, but he's already moving on to the next pair and Rin seems unresponsive. Just like when she was painting the mural, Rin has become so engrossed with her own work that it seems she has shut me, the classroom, and the entire world itself from her little sphere of existence. Every now and then she leans backwards, seemingly to get some perspective. Sometimes she bends forward, leaning down until her nose almost touches the paper. This rocking back and forth looks silly. Suddenly, Rin proves she hasn't completely drifted off into a world of her own and speaks. Are you having fun already? She doesn't raise her eyes from the drawing, which is a good thing. The breaking of the silence sends a jolt of surprise through me, as if I had been electrocuted. I don't know yet, it's hard to say. I can't hear how she replies to my answer, because it seems she suddenly is having a private, whispered conversation with her sketch. I don't understand how she can draw so well when she has the attention span of a butterfly. Hey, maybe butterflies have big attention spans, you don't know? Anyways, as it seems she lost her interest, I go back to work on my drawing as well. I try to add texture to Rin's hair, to somehow grasp the way the golden afternoon sun lights her bright red torso aflame, and transfer it to my paper in shades of black and grey. Somehow this pen and bottle of ink seem like such lousy, inadequate tools for the task. Minutes pass, but the sketch doesn't magically look any more like Rin than it did before. Her voice wakes me up from my despair. What about now? Excuse me? Are you having fun already? Why do you keep asking that? Because it's a club, right? Clubs are meant to be fun. You join to have fun. Are you having fun? Is it important? Is it Is it important that I'm having fun? Yes. Okay, I'm having fun. Good. I wonder if I said that just to please her or if I really meant it. I can't really decide which one it is. I don't hate this though, I can honestly say that much. It's good enough for now. As the allotted time to finish the studies quickly ticks away, I desperately try to improve my awful sketch, but it doesn't seem to get any better. I want to start again from scratch, but what would be the point? There's no time for that either. Okay everyone, that's it for today. Please turn in the drawings on my desk and I'll see you all next Monday. I think that's pretty good for someone who has no artistic talent. Jeez. It doesn't exactly look like Rin. I guess you could say it portrays her, but that might be a bit generous. The nose and jaw look hideous, and the shading is terrible. Granted, it's my first attempt at drawing with ink, but it's still pretty bad. That's not bad. She sneaked up behind me while I was lost in thought. Damn it, I was hoping I could smuggle the portrait to the teacher without you seeing it. Why? I'm not really happy with it. I wish I could draw better. You just need some practice. Could you take my drawing to the teacher too? Curious myself how the sketch turned out, I peeked at the picture from the way Rin was drawn. It looked like he was really into it. Oh wow. Nice going, Rin. It's excellent. Somehow the seemingly arbitrary strokes come together to form an image of my face, from the shape of my chin to the messy hair to the somewhat gloomy expression. Her sketch blows my mind. I wish I was as good as you. You're amazing. Go for the positive one. Wow, you're amazing. It's not that amazing. Okay, fuck you. But thanks. I take a closer look at her work. It's still glistening with slowly drying ink. You know, I look kinda grim here. You do look kinda grim. I mean, I agree. But it's also true otherwise too. Like, this you, not the you I made. I do? I think so at least. Her simple statement makes me suddenly feel incredibly self-conscious. I feel like I need a mirror right now to confirm or debunk Rin. It's a nasty feeling. Maybe it's just her. I hope it's just her and that I don't look like that sketch to everyone. It's a good sketch, but somehow I get a really oppressive feeling from it. I see. Anyway, it looks really good. You really are amazing. Thanks, I'm glad I could draw you. You're an interesting person. You're an interesting person too, but that didn't help me much. My self-deprecation has no limits today, but Rin ignores it all. I knew that I could never compare, but to see the difference with my own eyes is quite humbling. See, I tried to make you look like you think a lot, since you did a lot of thinking. And yeah, I might have overdone the fed up with life expression, but cynics are like that, right? I want to retort something snappy, but Nomiya gives me no time to think, ushering us to the door. Hurry up, you two! While we've been chatting, the rest of the club has taken their leave. I quickly pick up our drawings and take them to the teacher's desk before hurrying after Rin, who has already left the classroom. Alright, this is actually it for Katawa Shoujo for now. Don't worry, I'm not entirely done yet. But for now, I'm gonna be done with this episode of Katawa Shoujo. I hope everyone enjoyed Katawa Shoujo. And I'll see you all very soon. So, yeah. See you. Hope you had fun. Goodbye.